Monday, Florida lawmakers will meet to tackle several issues surrounding homeowners insurance, and the goals of this special session are to reform the state's property insurance market and to help homeowners affected by both Hurricanes Ian and Nicole. So joining us today is Sean Wade, insurance agent and owner of We Insure. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So talk to us quickly, explain us the biggest issues with the state's insurance market right now that you're seeing.
Right now what we're seeing is a three-pronged attack. First, it starts with the assignment of benefit. Then there's the one-way attorney fees. And behind the one-way attorney fees, we have the attorney fee multiplier. And the way this works is when a client has a claim, and a contractor comes and get them to sign an assignment of benefit form, that homeowner is given their rights to negotiate with their insurance carrier away to the contractor. The contractors in turn blow these claims up, hire attorneys, which leads to large litigation costs that the insurance companies, through the one-way attorney fee, ends up having to pay not only the claim, but the attorney fees. And because attorneys can multiply their fees under the fee multiplier, all of this leads to large costs that ultimately are passed down to the homeowners. And that's one of the main things that's driving costs up in the state of Florida.
It sounds so complicated when you break it down like that. So we know that solutions are on the table. Now, what are the first steps that you believe lawmakers need to take?
As a homeowner, as an insurance agent, we would like to see them eliminate, not minimize assignment of benefits, but eliminate the assignment of benefits, because that is that's the catalyst that starts this whole process that leads to the large claims.
And what would you say really is the biggest hurdle that could stand in the way?
I guess legislative negotiating. I really can't understand, because the assignment of benefit, again, it takes that homeowner's right away to negotiate with their carrier. I've had clients call me saying that the insurance company won't talk to them. And right away, I know they're more than likely signed that assignment of benefit form. And so now the insurance company has to negotiate with the contractor. And when the contractor submits these final claims, if it's ultimately not paid, then the contractor has the right to put a lien against that their home. And so it creates just a big nightmare. So if we start there, eliminating the assignment of benefit, if we go to the one-way attorney fees, where the insurance company has to pay the attorney's costs, those are concrete steps that if our legislators would take those steps, I think that would be a huge step in the right direction.
I think a lot of people would agree with you on that. And will homeowners see their rates drop anytime soon? Obviously, that's the goal here.
Well, like with any legislative process, it has to go through the complete process, and then carriers have to adjust to whatever legislation is passed. So it wouldn't be immediate, but hopefully whatever comes out of this session will ultimately benefit homeowners here in our state.
We have a little less than a minute left. Any last thoughts? Anything you want to wrap up with, or tell the people at home about this important issue that really affects a lot of people?
One of the things they would want to do, really, if they contact their agent, majority of us have the talking points, and if they would call their local representatives and voice their concerns so that the representatives know where the people stand. Because one of the things that happens, if a contractor approaches a homeowner and they promise a free roof or taking care of the deductible, that's part of the problem there. And stopping that right there, contractors, the door knocking, and it leads to just a big problem that we have here in the state. So contacting your local legislators and voicing your concerns about the issues that we have before us today.
Such important advice. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you.